War is a game of secrets. It always has been. For as long as humans have fought, they've used tricks and schemes to outsmart their enemies. From the ancient Trojan horse to modern camouflage, deception is a powerful weapon. Military deception is about more than just hiding. It's about creating illusions. It's about making your enemy believe the impossible. A good deception can change the course of a battle or even a whole war. But why is deception so effective? Because it plays with the enemy's mind. It forces them to question what is real and what is not. This confusion can be crippling in the heat of battle. In the 20th century, a new era of warfare emerged. The Cold War brought with it the terrifying prospect of nuclear annihilation. In this high-stakes environment, deception became more important than ever. After the devastation of World War II, a new conflict emerged. The United States and its allies formed NATO, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. They faced off against the Soviet Union and its allies in the Warsaw Pact. This was the Cold War. It wasn't a hot war with constant fighting, but the threat of conflict was always there, like a shadow hanging over the world. Both sides built up massive armies and stockpiles of nuclear weapons. The fear of nuclear war was very real. Everyone worried about the possibility of a devastating conflict that could destroy the world. In this tense atmosphere, NATO knew it had to be prepared for anything. One of NATO's key strategies was deterrence. The idea was to make the Soviet Union think twice about attacking. NATO wanted to convince the Soviets that any attack would be met with overwhelming force. This is where deception came in. NATO needed a way to make its forces seem larger and more powerful than they actually were. They needed a way to fool the Soviets. Their solution, a ghost army. This wasn't a supernatural force, but a unit dedicated to creating illusions. The ghost army's job was to deceive Soviet spies and reconnaissance. They used inflatable tanks, fake airfields, and even sound effects to create the impression of a much larger force than was actually present. Think about it. You're a Soviet spy flying over West Germany. You see a massive army camp below with hundreds of tanks and thousands of soldiers. You report this back to your superiors, and they make their battle plans accordingly. But there's a catch. The army camp you saw wasn't real. It was a carefully constructed illusion designed to fool you. That's the power of the ghost army. The ghost army used a variety of ingenious techniques to create their illusions. One of their most effective tools was the inflatable tank. These realistic-looking decoys could be inflated in minutes, creating the impression of a powerful armored force where none existed. But it wasn't just about visuals. The ghost army also used sound to complete the illusion. They played recordings of tank engines, troop movements, and even construction work over loudspeakers. Imagine being a Soviet soldier stationed near the border. In the distance, you hear the rumble of tanks and the shouts of soldiers. It sounds like a massive attack force is on the move, but it's all a carefully orchestrated illusion. The tanks are inflatable, the soldiers are recordings, and the real NATO forces are hidden elsewhere, ready to respond to any real attack. Operation Quicksilver, a case study in deception. One of the Ghost Army's most successful operations was Operation Quicksilver in 1953. The goal was to convince the Soviets that a major NATO offensive was about to be launched from West Germany. The Ghost Army went to work creating a massive phantom army near the border. They deployed hundreds of inflatable tanks, trucks, and artillery pieces. They set up dummy airfields with fake planes. They even used generators to simulate the radar signatures of real aircraft. The deception was incredibly effective. Soviet intelligence believed a major attack was imminent. They moved troops and resources to counter the perceived threat. But the real NATO forces were never in a position to attack. Operation Quicksilver had achieved its goal without a single shot being fired. The Soviets had been fooled, and NATO had bought itself valuable time and strategic advantage. How NATO kept its secrets. The success of the Ghost Army depended on secrecy. If the Soviets had discovered the truth about NATO's phantom forces, the consequences could have been disastrous. NATO went to great lengths to keep the Ghost Army's activities under wraps. They used code names, classified documents, and a strict need-to-know policy. Only a select few knew the true extent of the deception program. Even the families of the soldiers involved were often kept in extent of the deception program. Imagine writing home from war, but not being able to tell your loved ones what you were really doing. This secrecy was essential for maintaining the element of surprise, and it worked. For decades, the Soviets remained largely unaware of the true extent of NATO's deception efforts. While the Ghost Army was highly effective, it's impossible to know for sure if the Soviets ever fully saw through the illusions. Did they ever suspect that some of the tanks they were seeing were just inflatable decoys? There are stories of Soviet soldiers capturing abandoned equipment only to discover it was fake. These incidents likely raised some suspicions, but the Soviets also had their own disinformation campaigns. They understood the power of deception and may have assumed NATO was doing the same. Ultimately, the effectiveness of the Ghost Army can be measured by the fact that the Soviets never launched a full-scale attack on Western Europe. Did the fear of a phantom army play a role in their calculations? We may never know for sure. The Ghost Army's legacy is one of ingenuity, creativity, and the power of unconventional thinking. These soldiers used art, sound, and good old-fashioned trickery to deceive the enemy and potentially prevent a catastrophic war. Their story reminds us that victory in war doesn't always require brute force. Sometimes the most effective weapon is the one that makes your enemy question their own reality. The Ghost Army's exploits also highlight the importance of intelligence and counterintelligence in modern warfare. The ability to deceive your enemy while simultaneously seeing through their deceptions is crucial in today's complex battle space. The Cold War may be over, but the lessons of the Ghost Army remain relevant. In an age of cyber warfare and disinformation, the ability to deceive and manipulate information is more powerful than ever. The Ghost Army's story reminds us that sometimes the greatest victories are won not on the battlefield, but in the minds of our adversaries. It's a testament to the power of human ingenuity and the enduring importance of deception in the art of war. So, the next time you see a tank, take a closer look. Is it real, or could it be a phantom, a ghost of the Cold War, reminding us that things are not always as they appear?